Hello, everyone. Welcome to our new event of Women in the Wikimedia Movement. My name is María Cruz. I'm a Communications and Outreach Manager at the Wikimedia Foundation. And here with me co-hosting this event is Marty Johnson, uh, who is a Grants Program Officer at the Wikimedia Foundation as well. And in this event today, we invited a number of women from across the movement who are organizing training activities for other women to become contributors or organizers in this world. And we're going to hear about their experiences and how they are helping balancing the world for better. And so, without any further ado, we're going to start with Manavpreet Kaur, who is the co-founder of Punjabi Wikimedians, and recently organized a training for women across language communities in India. And yeah, with that, we are going to yes, Manaprit, you have the floor.
Okay, so hi, thank you, Maria, for this opportunity to actually amazing women and share my experiences with them. So I am Manavpreet Kaur, and my primary affiliate is a Punjabi Wikimedians user group. But for the last 1 year, I've been involved in more Indic activities. So I call myself a Wikimedian from India now. So, and I'm also a member of affiliations committee, and I've been like planning activities which involves women from different language communities. The first project that we did was Wiki Women for Women Wellbeing, and when we started working on that project, we started with 8 language communities. And to our surprise, when we started working with language communities who were working on it, so the outcome was really amazing, and the experience was altogether a different kind of experience, and it actually made us realize so many things which were the reason why we actually planned this women training. So this is just an initiation of a change in the movement, and we believe that as together as a women team, we'll be able to bridge this gap that we have in indie communities in terms of lesser number of organizers, and and this team will also help us in bridging the gender gap that we have on Wikimedia in terms of content related to women. So if you want, I can transition now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, so this is all about me. I started my wiki journey in the year 2014, and I organized my first offline event on Wikipedia 15 occasion in the month of January in 2015. And my major goals have been always outreach, awareness, and trainings and projects, designing projects that involves different Indic communities. The major project that I did was I was the program coordinator for WikiConference India 2016. After that, I have been a resource person to various events and trainings. I was the project lead for Wiki Women for Women Wellbeing, and I've been the co-organizers for various Indic projects. And the two major projects that have been done till date with the women for women were this Wiki Women for Women Wellbeing and the Women Train the Trainer program that we recently did in Delhi. So, my wiki journey, as far as this planning of wiki women related initiatives is concerned, this was our first initiative, and the main two objectives of doing this initiatives were to create content for related to women health concerns. And when we realized that the people were actually not able to contribute much into this because of this serious and difficult subject of medical, we expanded the theme of the event to the social well-being of women also, and we also extended the dates of the event from 31st October to 24th November. And then the second initiative that we have taken is training the women Wikimedians for leadership roles. So we did all this capacity building training. We started the whole planning of the event in July, where all the interested women's they all connected on social media, and we used to have weekly calls where we used to discuss how we are planning the project, how we are planning the proposal to submit, and we gave them hands-on training on every single step of planning, designing, doing, and then reporting the project. And in this train the trainer event, our simple goals were to actually address the issues that we faced during this Wiki Women for Women Wellbeing project. The first one was to actually discuss the issues and probable solutions for them, the issues which were faced in communities, which were like uh, some sort of lack of support, guidance, or resource material to do the outreach. Then we also focused on capacity building for effective outreach sessions. And because the problem is that Indian women don't get much time out of their busy schedules, or they have their own preferences because of which they're not very active in offline activities. And because this actually limits their access to the kind of movement which is going on a global level, and they are not a part of the global movement which is going on. So we thought, because they can't be a part of this event otherwise, we'll arrange some sort of activity for them or some sort of training for them, so that they can actually get to know what is going on in the global Wikimedia movement. And that is why when we were planning sessions for WTTT, we actually contacted some global leaders across the globe to actually lead some sessions and guide us about what they are doing and how to future activities. Then there was another was to raise awareness about the assistance being offered by the foundation for different kind of initiatives that we want to plan in future. So what we did for this Women's Day, first is as featured Women Wikimedia in 2019. That was an initiative that we planned with Neha Hussain and some people from the Wikimedia India. So we featured one newsletter covering 19 women of influence in Wikimedia in the year 2019. Not all women were active Wikimedians. Some were like uh, some women who were highlighted in this newsletter were the ones who were major contributors when they were working, and then they left suddenly, so that in order to give them some sort of um, motivation to join the movement again. And then we also highlighted our star performers which have been listed in that list, and we actually shared their stories, what they're doing now, to actually motivate the people who are doing really well right now. So during WTT, as we were doing this Wiki for Women editathon with in collaboration with UNESCO. So when this idea was proposed to us by John Cummings from the head office UNESCO, he actually approached us to do this initiative in Delhi, because Eric Falt is the one who proposed this event in France last year, so he wanted to have this similar event in Delhi also. So we went and met the UNESCO team, and they told us that they want to have this women-centric event. And we didn't have any kind of issues in involving men in this event, but because this is a day to celebrate womanhood, and this is a special day for women, so we wanted all the women from different communities to come and experience this, so that actually they can learn something more from it. And anybody who are the can plan initiatives in the same line. So what we did, different women from different regions to the UNESCO event, we thought of clubbing the Women Train the Trainer program along with this UNESCO editathon, so that in like expenses of one event, we'll be able to do two effective programs. So on day zero, there were like some editors like Susweta, who were English Wikimedians. They actually had this prepping session for us from 7 p.m. in the evening till 11, so that we have this understanding of difference between and English language Wikipedia, so that we are able to demonstrate and help the people who are working on it on the day of editathon. Then during the training, we had these sessions by global leaders, where we had this session on outreach and communication, a new project designed by Maria Cruz. We had a session on trust and safety by Sydney Poor, and we had a session on non-conventional education programs by Tamara from Wikimedia Armenia. And after these sessions, we had small discussions and sharing. We shared ideas and we presented them, and we discussed what can be done, and which ideas we can implement in our future projects. We also had presentations by the Indic Wikimedians who have been doing some initiatives in this bridging the gender gap in their respective regions. And we also thought about how we can implement the same ideas in our respective languages, and how we can take this idea forward as a women team rather than doing it as an individual. And we had some hands-on activities regarding planning future activities and working as references and the issues we face and what can be the probable solutions for it. The whole idea of planning this event was to share your experience and learning out of it. In terms of outcomes, now we have gained better understanding of the ongoing activities of India, we have better understanding of project design and outreach communications. We have awareness about the trust and safety initiatives on building the community, and we are taking this specific issue in our future activities, where we'll be translating all the initiative pages in our respective language and initiate the discussions within the community about their implementation and about their scope also. Then we have understanding of the non-conventional method to the students and the senior citizens, because the only education programs that we have in India involves the college students. Now we are planning to start wiki clubs at schools, where we'll be involving primary level students in the movement, and we'll be also starting one initiative with the senior citizens. And we have also started, on recommendations of Maria Cruz, we have also initiated this process of taking it forward. And we have now recognized the issues and have picked some target areas to work on in the coming year. And as I've already mentioned, that we have planned some future initiatives as a team. Practically, we could not take much activities for this year, as this is going to be our first year to work as a team. So we have taken up three major goals for the coming year. First is to translate and share knowledge about this trust and safety initiative, that is community health. Second is starting wiki clubs with students and senior citizens. And the third one is we are doing this Wiki Women for Women Wellbeing Project Round 2. And because there are a lot of hindrances that we face because of the lack of support network, we have formed a strong support network for each other. Thank you. This is a small video that we have made.
Manaprit, I think you need to
Maybe.
share your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I
No, it's okay. But I mean, since now you're sharing your screen.
missed showing you some of the pictures, but I hope I was clear enough. Uh,
Yes.
these are some of the pictures from the events that we did. This image is from the UNESCO Wiki for Women Editathon. This picture is from our Wiki Women Train the Trainer program. This is the picture where we are having this preparation session for our editathon. These are the pictures from the Train the Trainer program. And I'd like to ask if my is my screen visible? Is this
Yes,
image
it is.
visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just playing the video.
So I think if you disconnect your headphones, we're gonna be able to listen to the video as well.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
connected. So I guess there's some problem in it. I guess it'll take some time, and we can have this presentation, this video, like later after everybody else is done with their initial
okay. Yeah.
introductions and sessions. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Manaprit. That was very interesting to hear about how training initiatives are getting far in India for women. Next up is Mariana Fossati from Uruguay. Mariana, the floor is yours.
Hello, hello everybody. I am Mariana from Uruguay. I am part of the Wikimedia Uruguay team, and as part of the of our Wikimedia chapter, I ran several editathons on women and feminism, and um, I am not only working on Wikimedia Uruguay, I am also participating in global campaign called Visible Wiki Women, from Whose Knowledge, an organization to work around diversity online. And today I want to share with you some slides about Visible Wiki Women, to talk about how we are working on improving women visibility on Wikipedia and online. And this initiative involves training also, because we are working on a specific Wikimedia sister project with Wikimedia Commons, because it's about upload and share and illustrate Wikipedia with women pictures and illustration. So this campaign has an important amount of work around training. And we work creating resources and guides to support partners and support Wikimedians and not Wikimedians people, also feminists and volunteers around the world to upload images to Wikipedia, which is a challenge because, as you know, only free and open images could be shared on Wikipedia. So it's not only, hey, get this link and upload images. You have to learn how to find free and open images, how to recognize it, how to recognize authorship of other people, and how to apply open licenses to your own work. So there are some challenge around this, and I want to share some slides with you to explain Visible Wiki Women Challenge, and later maybe in the later of the presentations during the chat, I can share more about the experience of train other people around images and around visibility. Let me share my desktop. Can you see the
yes,
the
we can see.
presentation?
We can see your screen.
Perfect. Well, Visible Wiki Women is a global campaign for improve the visual knowledge about women online, taking Wikipedia as a focus, because Wikipedia is one of the major websites of the world, as you know, and if we can put images on Wikipedia articles and biographies about women, the visibility of women in different areas, in different fields, is better. And this is important because the gender gap on Wikipedia is not only a gap of textual content, it's about images, about visual content also. And less than 20% of Wikipedia articles of important women have pictures, only 20%. And if you think on that, if you think that only the 20% of Wikipedia articles are about women, the visibility of that articles is something very important also, because an article that has an image and looks incomplete looks also like something less relevant. So show people how to upload images and share images on women biographies is our way to try to solve the gender gap online. as I say, only the 20% approximately of biographies on Wikipedia represents women, and these two realities combined has the result of the visibility gap I mentioned. And that visibility gap spread on the web worldwide. And if you remember all encyclopedias, and you think in just read those paper encyclopedias and look the pages that you see is men faces highlighted. So only the men faces looks like deserve this kind of highlight. So if we think on a online encyclopedia like Wikipedia, the problem is, for example, when you search on Google or on any search engine, and when you search online, what you see is again men faces more like women faces. When you are looking for notable people or people in activities like science, on arts, and so on. So making women more visible in Wikipedia involves many challenges. For this, it's important to train people to do that. For example, we face biases and stereotypes on gender, on gender images, on the visibility of gender offline and online. The presence of women in the public space, where photos or most of the photos of relevant and notable people are taken. And of course, copyright, because in Wikipedia we need open and free licensed photos. So it's not enough to claim fair use to upload a picture to Wikipedia to illustrate a women biography. We need to know more about copyright, about free licenses, about free culture. So this is a very specific challenge in our training materials and in the support that we have to give to our partners. And of course, lack of sources online. When you go to or when you visit a museum or a digital collection online, of course, the most of the images are one more time of men. So look and search and find image that you can share freely and openly online through Wikipedia it's a challenge, especially to, as I said before, in our training materials. And this year we have different several tasks that you can take and to participate on the Visible Wiki Women campaign this year. You can upload images of notable women and also their work on to Wikimedia Commons using Visible Wiki Women 2019 category. You can improve descriptions on Wikimedia Commons and also on in Wikidata, which is very important. You can use images on Wikipedia articles, and of course, write, improve, and translate articles. And all of this is possible because thanks our partners. We have partners in the Wikimedia movement. like chapters and user groups, and also cultural institutions, feminist organizations, media organizations. So this is not a campaign that that we can run by our own. We need to have partners. We need to spread the word. So once more time, here training is important because it's the only way to empower and encourage other people to participate and to in the complex world of Wikimedia Commons, Wikidata, and other tools that has the power to give more visibility to women. So that was my presentation. Let me back to the camera. And well, we are preparing guides and resources basically to read because the idea is that the partners, like, for example, Wikimedia chapters, can replicate the training. And for example, we don't have trainers materials, for example, which will be interesting. And I like to hear from you some ideas about that, for example. That will be fun. And this is it for my side for now. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mariana, for sharing your experience and giving more insights on how Visible Women works. And without further ado, we're going to move on to Natasha.
Well, hello, my name is Natasha. I've tried to share the screen directly, if it works. Here we are. So this is me. Let's move on to the second screen. First of all, I wanted to share with you what I liked doing as a contributor, because first of all, I love to contribute. And these are my main areas of activities, like mapping burnt witches using Wikidata, transcripting old books from the Middle Ages with Wikisource, contributing on LGBTIQ and feminist subjects, and documenting gender-based violence. And also, I do a lot of work on the project page of Les 100 Pages to read, evaluate the articles, so that we improve, we need to organize to tackle the gender gap. As a Wikimedian, what I have basically tried to do is to share the knowledge that I have gained from others. Probably I owe much more to the movement than I gave to the movement, because I learned so much since 2015, when I first really started, that I really want to share with others and disseminate everywhere possible the things that I have learned. And I also feel that we need to be doing that, because when I came in 2015, I saw a lot of initiatives everywhere to reduce the gender gap on various languages, but also on the Francophone Wikipedia. But there was not enough, in my opinion, exchanges between the projects to learn, to evaluate, to share what worked and what didn't work. So I started in 2015 because the University of Geneva asked me to launch a conference on the Wikipedia gender gap. And I thought it was a shame to launch this conference without actually getting more women to contribute. So this is what we did, that you can see on the upper left, 2015, 2016, we had workshops.
Natasha, I think you stopped sharing your screen for some reason.
I stopped sharing the screen. Let me go back and try to do it again. Here we are. The screen has disappeared. Okay, so just a sec. Can you see it again?
No.
No. Okay. Here we are. And now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. And to be able to do these workshops, I was myself a beginner, so I tried to grab all the resources I could get from other people. And one of them was the WikiMOOC. I was a member of the pedagogical team that was mainly reading video scripts in front of a camera, but that enabled me to have access to senior Wikipedians who could teach me a lot about procedures. And so the first strategic insight that I want to share is that if you're tackling with such a difficult issue as a gender gap, the gender gap, and like me taking a feminist approach, well, the first thing you can do is participate to other people's project, learning from them, and what you find that they are more willing afterwards to share resources than if you just come and say on a platform which is composed 90% of men, oh, there's a huge gender gap and that's a huge problem, and basically you are all machos. We need to take an approach where we discuss with them and we convince them rather than having a frontal approach. Another thing that I like participating was art and feminism, where I learned a lot. And the first project that we led was nominated among the 10 coolest projects of the year at Esinolario. So we went to Esinolario, Wikimania, and there we met Rosie Stepp, who said to us, well, there's no equivalent of Women in Red on the Francophone Wikipedia, so why don't you do one? And so that's what we did. And then I went on sharing insights in the Wiki Convention, Francophone Wiki Convention, and representing the Wiki Women user group at the Wikimedia conference. But if I move back, if I move on to what happened in Esinolario in 2016, is that we created the project Des 100 Pages online, moving from a group where we had workshops to really being Wikipedians online. And from 2016 up till now, we have produced more than 4,600 articles. The project has been mediatized, heavily mediatized. That was a challenge because none of us was used to going in front of the TV, of the Swiss TV, the French TV, and that was a challenge. From that point, we decided that we needed to create more local groups, and that's what we have been doing in the last year, creating one group in Marseille, one group in Switzerland in Sion, and continuing the group in Paris, which is thriving and organizing monthly events and participated into the UNESCO Wiki for Women event last week. So we are basically now working online on the projects, but also continuing to share and to meet face-to-face with people, because that is where we share technical knowledge and where we can find allies who will support us in times of hardships. When you contribute around feminist subjects, you have to be prepared to be accused of pushing. People can be quite aggressive, especially if you are an outed LGBT or feminist. So it's very important to find support and to have places where you can communicate about these issues and to know what the Wikimedia Foundation offers to counter these aggressive behaviors. The support that we had from the beginning, from the VMF, was very vital. We had 3 grants, one in 2015, one in 2016, and one in 2017. And this gave us a lot of credibility, especially towards institutions that we approach for hosting editathons or workshops. But at the same time, if you receive money from the VMF, you have to be prepared to face some sort of criticism by the online community, and also learn to to take into account the criticism, but not letting it too much bother you. Has it changed? I want to say how much it changed my life in the end. I want to show my balcony before and my balcony now. And of course, I've learned a lot, but it's very much time consuming. And what I have found by the various groups is that the women are finding it hard to find time. And I think one of the challenges that we face is that because women earn less and have less time, they have less time to spend for volunteering projects. And I really think that contributing should remain something volunteer. But if we really want to make a difference with regards to the gender gap, we have to consider that project leaders need to be supported financially, and we need to consider it as work. And this is something that I have heard from all the various groups that we have set up, that the women, they want to do more, but they find it hard to cope with the family and the work and everything. And I think this is the biggest challenge that we face, not only for the gender gap, but for also other gaps like North and South gap, and tackling into communities that have less access to the internet. And I think I'm going to stop there to allow some questions and to go on. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Natasha, for preparing this presentation and sharing your story and your insights on the work on the gender gap. Without further ado, we are going to open the floor for conversation. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can submit questions via the chat. And I think, Marty, would you like to start with the first question, or should I go ahead and start? Oh, I think you're muted. Yeah. I can start with the first question. I am thinking whether I should. So I might skip a few questions so that we can go to more in-depth questions. So, what challenges did you face when you first started working in this movement? When you first started contributing to Wikimedia?
Shall I start, or?
Yeah, if you want to.
The first challenge was to find the information, to know where the information is, who can give you the information, the technical information, the information about the grants, about how things work. That was challenging, which is why I chose to be part of the WikiMOOC, so that I could grab a senior Wikipedian so that I could get the information. And one of the toughest challenges too was that we could find locally no senior Wikipedian to help us. I had to travel from Geneva to Paris. This is 3 hours by train to find actual people willing to meet face-to-face to help you. And what I found is that people away from your local surrounding sometimes are more willing to help you than the actual guys who are working in the area. That's what I think.
Oh, I think you're. Did you? Oh, you muted yourself. Yeah. Okay.
Should I go next? Okay.
Yeah, you can go, Manaprit.
Okay, fine. So, when I joined Wiki, the only concern that we faced was that there was no clarity of what we are doing and what we are planning here with respect to Indian scenario. See, the Indian scenario is completely different from the scenario that we have in other countries in terms of having the diversity, in terms of language, in terms of people background, and the type of subject areas they're interested in. So, what happened then initially when we were working, when I started working on Wikipedia, we all went for something that was proposed by someone who was a senior Wikimedian as compared to us. So, we didn't understand the need to actually join the global movement and start working on all those projects initially. But then, slowly and steadily, we got to know we got that understanding that why these projects are being designed, and then we actually, after being there for a year or so, we actually understood that it is not im- uh, necessary to be a part of all the global movements. You can always design your own projects on the basis of the needs of the readers and the language specific people, and then you can design your own projects and work on them. Because from the statistics, we have also observed that there is a huge difference between readership of the articles that we have created, keeping the users or the readers in mind, and the projects we are doing earlier. The readership of our projects, of our articles that we have created now under the projects we have designed, is more as compared of the articles we have created earlier. So yes, designing the need based projects and the local need specific projects is something I've learned over the period of time, which I was not clear about initially.
Well, I'm the next. And I think that an initial challenge when you start to edit Wikipedia, a challenge for newbies, a challenge when I started to do it, um, is to know that Wikipedia has editing rules, and to understand that rules are built by consensus, and aren't something capricious or dictated by an authority. And at the beginning, you should make an effort to understand that. Um, Understand that it's not only your point of view, but Wikipedia is something built collectively, and explain that to other people is something very interesting for me, because sometimes people doesn't have an idea about that the web content is possible to build through consensus, through negotiation, through discussion. So it's important to know the rules, and especially the rules about negotiation and consensus and discussion. This is something that new women editors doesn't know at in their first time editing, and explain that and empower women to go to talk pages and read the rules. It's something that we leave to the end of the process, and maybe it's important to start at least explaining and talking about the consensus, the community building on Wikipedia and sister projects.
I would just like to add something, because it's very interesting what you said. One of the challenges that we face with newbies was the interaction with the more senior community, because newbies, they come to an editathon, they write the article, then they go home really satisfied. 2 days afterwards, they open up the article and it's full of banners. The article is an orphan, doesn't have any source. You have to wikify. In French, it's wikification. They don't understand at all what it is all about. So what I started realizing is that when you organize an editathon, the work is not finished at the end of the day. You have to set up some kind of people, senior Wikipedians, who will go through all the published articles and try to take off the banners, explain to the newbies what they have done, because the community who is patrolling, and I've been patrolling myself to see what were the challenges, doesn't have the time. And because they don't have the time, they press on the banner button, and I understand it because I've done it too. I've seen myself doing what I so much criticized. And of course, I prefer to put a banner than an article goes away without being overlooked. So it's really important to continue the work after an editathon if we want to keep the newbies, because we know that women, they go away at that point when they feel they feel these banners are as aggressive, and although some are not meant to be aggressive, there we have to play a mediation role.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that the processes and knowing the rules, it's a lot of information that one needs to know to be able to contribute. And sometimes the way this information is presented is not very amicable. So this affects people in different ways. Did you or do you have a mentor? Is there someone that you feel like you have learned a lot from, or anyone that made you feel empowered to step into an organizing role?
Well, I can start on that if you want. I didn't have one mentor, but disseminated people who had a lot of influence. Like I spoke about meeting Rosie Step in Essinolario. Meeting Rosie Step in Essinolario was vital because she was able to give a strategic overview on the global movement. Getting in touch with the VMF Foundation too, because without the support of the VMF, it would have been really hard to continue. There was moral support, there was financial support, and this is really important because it gives us credibility in the local community. And then some senior Wikipedians, I'm thinking of Klardec, for myself it was Klardec Du, Jules 78, 120, people where we could ask questions and we could also send newbies to them because we knew that they would answer with empathy. And I think that these people we meet through conferences and global organization like Wikimedia, the Wikimedia conference. This is where we are able to meet the people. And sometimes I get worried when I hear that the accentuation and strategy is on building local events, because we need local events, but we, as local people, we also need to have access to the global movement. And most of the time, we don't have the finances to go there on our own. Like, if I speak about me, I may live in Switzerland, which is a rich country, but I am a lone mother, work at the University of Geneva, but I don't have a big salary. So without financial support to go and meet these people who can teach us about Wikidata, about the links between Wikidata, Commons, Wikipedia, about all the what has been done by safety and security team, it's very difficult to do the work locally.
Thank you.
So, yes, I guess if in any journey, because when you're a beginner, you don't have much idea about the ifs and buts that make a movement go. And in such a big movement as big as Wikimedia movement, you definitely need some people who actually guide you through the process of growing and learning in this movement. So when I started working on Wiki, and I was about to do my major project of Wiki Conference India, as I told you, so I would like to mention some names here because there were some people who have really been the support and the motivation behind what I have been doing. And when I started doing Wiki conference India, Mr. Ravi Shankar Ayyakunu, he's from Tamil Wikimedian user group. He was the one who actually motivated me to take risks and chances and learn from the mistakes I may make. And then Sandeep Gill, definitely, because he actually introduced me to the Wikimedia movement. And there's one very special person I would like to name here, because he has been a mentor in true terms, because a mentor is someone who actually acts like a bridge and connects you to the right people and right places. And when I started working as an organizer, when I started thinking about ideas, how we can take this movement forward, how we can actually bring women into it, and how we can actually try and work on new ideas and different we can expand this zone in different ways. There's user Tito Datta from English Wikimedia. He's also a program manager with CISA2K India, and he has been the one who has been a mentor in true terms, because he has been connecting me to all the right people at all the right times. And if I'll talk about from where I get the strength and the positivity to actually take decision in a difficult situation, and how to actually offer a perspective or understanding to someone in a situation where we don't get it, I get it from user Crystal, which is Kitsalina from the Trust and Safety team. Yeah, so these are the people who have actually been true mentors in my journey.
Yeah, I cannot say that I have one mentor or a main mentor, but I feel that I have the presence and support of other women and feminists who have been working for years to reduce the gender gap and combat this, the sexist bias in the encyclopedia. I I can mention a lot of people. Of course, for example, as you mentioned before, Rosie or Cristalina and others, and all other from my community, from Wikipedia, Wikipedia en español, and also the folks from my local chapter of Wikimedia Uruguay. All those people share share the experience with me and with other women, and all these women help us to step strong, step firm on the ground when we start, and also they encourage us to move forward. And I think that I personally don't have one main mentor, but the community is a mentor, and I think that people saying you, oh, you are wrong, you have mistakes and so on. That doesn't work. That doesn't work to encourage people to edit and to be volunteers. I think that mentoring is a work of love, of mutual understanding. So it's a work of sorority, if you want to put it that way. So I think when I think on mentoring, I think on mainly of the community of women helping each and supporting each other.
That's a really beautiful idea, Mariana. Mentoring is a work of sorority. I think there's a lot of us going like, yes, it is. And I love hearing what I gather from the three of you is that it's a work of a village. There are individual people that we can think of, and then it's always a community that is supporting us to grow. So the next question I wanted to ask you is, what challenges do you face when training other women, and how do you overcome these challenges?
Well, the main challenge is to explain, like we said before, the complexity of the Wikimedia projects, and to get them over the tipping point where they don't see, for me, where they don't see conflict as something totally negative, but as a way to open up and learn more. Because I am very much an engaged feminist, I get a lot of feminist newbies, and some people come and they are really looking into contributing one way, and you have to teach them to open up and to apply neutrality and to apply several sets of view and to source what is difficult to source, and to see reactions as a way to improve. That's the main challenge, I think, with women, and making it encouraging them to continue so that they are not discouraged by the first outburst of aggressivity, or that's really a challenge, because I've seen many women slam the door and say, no, it's not for me. I don't like discussing over pages and pages over a comma, or whether you put an E or an S or whatsoever, because they find it time consuming, and also they find it sometimes toxic. Yeah. So that's the main challenge, to foster that spirit of sorority. I think it's really important. It's really important to gather all the projects together and to have a kind of a sorority mayonnaise, that we can find people who understand us and where we can speak and let out the frustration, and not overreact on the projects when we are defending a point of view. That's the main challenge, I think, for me.
So when it comes to the challenges that women usually face in a movement, the things that because we have some movements or initiatives planned to promote women and to bring more women to the movement, sometimes people actually don't understand the need to have these kind of practices. Sometimes they don't offer understanding to the practice of equity rather than equality, because what happens then in a situation, if there are two people and you have to pick one, and like sometimes we actually do that. We have been witness to this, that we have been to in order to promote women, we have been giving preference to a woman rather than a man in a certain situation, if they are of equal caliber, or they have been doing equally good in certain aspects. So we have this tendency of giving the preference to women, not and it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate the efforts being done by the male member of the community, but it's just that in a situation, if we can actually offer some sort of appreciation or acknowledgement to women, it might work wonders for her or her journey in Wikimedia movement. And second thing is, when we plan some sort of activities which are exclusively for women, sometimes we are questioned around our approach towards planning more diverse events rather than planning exclusive events. So when we try to explain, we sometimes fail to explain the need to have this special zone for women, or this special safe space for women to actually be in a situation where we can actually come up and be a part of more diverse events rather than planning exclusive events. So I think because there's less clarity about what we do and why we do in this Wiki Loves Women campaign, I think this and some sort of the kind of drawbacks that women usually face, because sometimes what happens, they are motivated to do something, but because of these kind of backlash or negativity that they receive from the community, it actually demotivates them to continue their journey on Wiki. plus their own family issues also, because everybody is going through a lot of stress in their personal lives, and volunteer work is something they want to enjoy and work on. And when they're not able to actually enjoy their contribution, they don't feel the need to be in it anymore. So that is something I think which has been a hindrance in our experience.
I think you muted yourself again.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Well, I think from my experience, at least, that the challenge is when feminists approach Wikipedia for the first time. There are usually face the challenge of narrowing the gender gap, and they come to Wikipedia with a feminist approach, which is great. Which is that what we need. But we must also work with them, with the feminists, to learn that they have to learn that they should interact with other editors who are sometimes who are far away from feminist thinking. So a challenge then is to learn how to use the feminist approach in a general knowledge work as Wikipedia, a general knowledge encyclopedia with a global audience and a community where feminism has not when the conscience of the importance of feminism and the history of feminism is not maybe is not hegemonic. It is not the way of think of the most of the editors. But I think that this is a nice challenge because it allows us, the feminists, to make our arguments stronger, and for example, searching for reference or think from all point of view, including the opposite point of view. And I think that learn how to deal with the opposition without only I think that it's important to learn how to deal with opposition in a different way that we usually use, for example, on social media, a completely different way, because in Wikimedia you need to argue, you need to look for reference. So I think that is a beautiful I think that it's beautiful to learn that and to use it on on feminist knowledge and feminist communities. Is something that you can learn from Wikipedia community, and I think that is it's beautiful. It's nice.
Thank you. So I'm hearing a lot of managing expectations when it comes to online conflict and having conversations that are important to have to be able to incorporate more diversity in our encyclopedia, and how to manage one's own expectations and feelings and reactions. So there's a question on YouTube chat for Manavprit. This is a question from Irina Safarian. She says, Manavprit, you have mentioned about the activity with Wikimedia Armenia. Can you please talk a little bit more about that project? I think you need to unmute yourself, Manpreet.
Yeah. So am I loud and clear? I think there's some issue with my volume also.
Yeah,
I
we
hope
can
I'm
hear
clear.
you.
So, when we started planning this Train the Trainer program, there was one very important aspect that we wanted to cover, which was about education programs, because there are so many people, so many women Wikimedians who are actually teachers, me being one of them. So, what happened that we usually, when we plan an education program, it is usually about the students of the colleges, the secondary level students. So what happens that they join Wikimedia and they work on Wiki as long as they are working in association with you, and the moment they step out, because their careers, it is the beginning of their careers, they don't usually get time to work on Wikimedia. So in order to actually start this learning process in the very beginning, in the earlier years of their in the learning and their education life, it is important to incorporate Wikipedia into their daily schedules, so that they actually start developing this habit of working on Wikipedia. So we were thinking about planning some non-conventional methods of expanding this movement in terms of education. So when we were researching about it, we got to know about this wiki clubs that are being that are one of the most successful programs by Wikimedia Armenia. So we contacted Susanna from Wikimedia Armenia and we told her that we want to do something like this in future. And she gave us some reference links to read about. And when we were planning sessions, we came across Tamara, who's from Wikimedia Armenia, and she shared her experiences, how they have been running these schools in association with the local authorities, and how they involve students in editing. And once they are done, they how they actually plan some sort of activity with them. And she's also guiding us on how to plan one wiki club, because as I've told that we have today we have received this positive response for starting one wiki club with the government schools in Punjab and Tamil Nadu. So the moment we dropped her an email about it, she said that she'll be ready to, like, she'll be happy to assist us in this process of designing the whole program. So that is how they are helping us in designing this education program, by forming wiki clubs.
Great. So a lot of learning from other peers as well. So I think we are at time, unfortunately, but I wanted to ask if there are any other questions from YouTube that we can surface one more question, and then maybe we have to meet next time. But I'm really happy with. Let's give that a few minutes. Okay, so yeah, this is we have come to the end of our event. We didn't get to go through all of our questions, but it was great to hear your experiences and your presentation. Thank you so much again, Manpreet, Mariana, and Natasha, for making such meaningful presentations and engaging with us in this conversation. I think it's important to be able to highlight the work that women are doing across the Wikimedia movement. And yes, sorority is the word of the day. I'm always happy to support you and to elevate your stories. And thank you to everybody who joined. We had about 25 watchers on YouTube, and everybody was engaging in the chat as well. So that was really interesting to see. I always leave these events full of energy and camaraderie, sorority. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating and engaging in such meaningful ways.
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you all.
And thank you, Marty, for being my co-host as well and helping me to navigate the YouTube chat as well. Okay, so I hope to be able to organize a new event soon, and thank you everyone again. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good luck to everyone.
Yeah.